So I'm plugging in the brand new batteries here, charging them all the way up. After about 2 hours or so of charging, they were fully charged. And then it's pretty simple. You just unscrew the battery compartment cap on your scope, put the battery in the correct orientation, positive and negative. It only takes one battery. Screw the cap back on. Hold down the power button. Till the unit comes on and you're ready to go. So everybody, welcome back. James here again with you, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the new DNT Optics TNC225R. This is a thermal night vision compact laser rangefinder multi-spectrum scope. And DNT reached out to me and asked if I would like to review this unit, and I said sure, why not? So here I have it set up on my tabletop, and I am recording through 2 video cameras because I want to show you what I'm doing to get it set up. I have the camera through the scope here, you can see, and I have this set up on day mode right now. It could be switched from day mode, night mode, and thermal, which I'll go through all the settings. The manual, in my opinion, is one of the best manuals I've read. I highly recommend reading this first. I read it and everything, I just didn't set up the scope, time, date, and all that before I took it out because I wanted to make sure that it would just work. There's no point in doing all the settings if it doesn't work out of the box, in my opinion. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. With this scope, I have the second camera up above because of the different buttons you have to touch to get there. And with the day mode on right now, you can see that it shows you what magnification the actual scope is on. And this little dial up here on the top, you can increase that. So 20 is max, and everything in between all the way down to 5x. And then you can see inside the screen I have the gyroscope and the level on, and it shows you what's on and what's not. It can record audio, it's got the battery life, it's got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all that stuff. But anyway, once you get it on, all you got to do is hold the power button down at the very top here. As you've seen, pops right on. You're good to go. Other than that, and to turn it off, you hold the power button down until the screen goes blank or black, and you'll see a countdown. Let me go through the settings here. So to get to your settings, all you do is hold the top button down and this 4-button menu, and you can see you can adjust your screen brightness, and you have the arrows shown on these buttons. So if you want to go down, you got connection, you got zeroing, you got your digital and thermal switch channels, ballistic calculations, color enhancement, thermal imaging mode, thermal image configuration, recoil activated recording, and then you can turn it on and off, your audio, function settings, system settings. That's it. So to change stuff in your settings, you use this right button, right and left. Left takes you back to the main menu of your settings. The right one opens that setting. And I can barely see what those are saying down there. But you can go through there and change as needed, get your date, your time set, really easy, all that good stuff. It's a pretty neat scope for what it is. I typically don't use digital or night vision scopes very often, just because I prefer a mechanical scope, but I have to say this is probably one of the clearest day mode scopes I've ever used digital, and the night vision is not bad actually. I don't really hunt night vision with night vision, but I did take this out because it does have an onboard rangefinder, which is right here, and you push that button when you're aiming at something to catch what it says up at the top. Let me go back. You cancel, go back, cancel, you left click, and you're back to your screen menu from where your scope can record or just use it as a scope. And you hold that down, it'll give you yards or meters. You can change all that, and it definitely does work, and it's decently accurate, I have to say. I took it outside and compared it to my laser rangefinder, my handheld, to see how close it was down the road at a tree, and there was about a 1 yard difference, and I recorded that through this. So now that you've seen the day mode with the hunting clips, the night mode, which there isn't really anything going on right now during hunting season for night hunting in Indiana at this time of year, neither can I use the thermal mode for hunting unless it's a specific animal. I use the thermal mainly to see where the animals fall that I hit, the small game. That's really the only thing that it's useful, in my opinion, for me in my scenarios. This is the first thermal I've ever used. It takes time for me to get used to because I want to make sure that my target is what the target is. You know, if I'm out for coyotes, raccoons, whatever, nighttime hunting, I do not want to be hitting a target that is not that specific animal. So to me, it just takes some time to get used to a thermal, but it was pretty cool using the thermal for squirrels, in my opinion, because then you could see the size of the animal, and you could see when you hit it, and you could see where they fall if they fell out of the tree and then they're sitting on the ground if you can't find them in the brush or foliage or whatever. But if you want to mess with your reticle, you could change colors. Pretty easy to do. Use the top button, don't hold it, just push it, and you can change all kinds of stuff in this scope. It's super easy. Once you get a hold of it, get a hang of it and all that, it's nothing. So I have this DNT scope mounted on my BCA 201 Ruger 1022 clone, and I'm going to show you guys how to get it sighted in. Now, if you're going to use this on a 22 LR or a air rifle, I suggest changing the rail on the scope from 0 MOA, 20 MOA, or 35 MOA. I've done the 0 MOA on a 22 LR and an air gun, and the projectile never goes above the line of sight or crosshair. So I recommend either using the 20 MOA base or the 35 MOA. So let me go ahead and get this set up here, and I got a target down at 25 yards, and I'm going to record through the scope and show you how it's done. Super easy, actually.
Okay, I got my paper target down there. Let's take a shot and see where she impacts. Alright, so it looks like it's a little low and a little left. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the settings. Hold the top button down. And you're good to go. Here we go. Next shot. Hold the settings down, go back in. Zeroing. Okay, now what I'm going to do is freeze it. Click the power button. Okay, now it's frozen. Now I got to move the X. Go to the Y. Move it down just to here. And hold the right button down and we should be good to go. And she's pretty on. That's how you do it. You just got to adjust it a little more. And I would say she's good to go. It's so hard to do this holding the camera behind the scope, but it's on. And again, there's a trick to it. You push the power button to freeze it. And then you sit there and adjust accordingly. But I'm standing up doing this and holding the camera. So let's go down range and check it out. So here you see was my first shot, I believe. Second shot, and I had to lower it and move it back over just a hair. So I just have to tune it in just a hair more. But it's so easy to get sighted in and zeroed. It doesn't take a lot of ammo for sure, especially at close range. So again, I recommend for the air guns and rimfire, do not use the 0 MOA base.
Now, it was tricky for me, not gonna lie, to get it from night vision to thermal to regular day mode, because in thermal, guys, there is so many options in this scope. You can have red hot, white hot, all kinds of stuff. Let me show you. So this button right here switches it. Let me go ahead and put this back on. There we go. So this button right here, right beside your rangefinder button, switches your channels. So there's your thermal. And then you can change the different types of thermal using the left button here. I don't know what that one was. I think that was white. Yeah, you could change all the different thermal settings you want, which is pretty freaking cool. And then you click that and you go back to day mode. So the night mode, or thermal, excuse me, thermal starts out at 3x. You zoom in and it's 12x max. So thermal is 3 to 12, day mode is 5 to 20, night mode is also 5 to 20. And you'll know when you hit the IR mode. There it goes. So you got to hold this down, the left button, and you'll hear it click, and you see the IR up at the top right next to the, looks like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. You could change the brightness, which I did that at nighttime, and it's pretty freaking cool because the illuminator is right over here, and you can adjust the beam. It's freaking awesome. Again, if I was a big nighttime hunter, I would use this all the time. Other than that, you switch it back to day mode, hold that button down. And if you want to do picture in picture from day mode to thermal or night vision or whatever, you use this button on the right. But that also, just touching it once, not holding it down, increases the brightness. So you've seen I went and flicked through the brightness settings. Now if you hold this down, you do picture in picture. And now it's picture in picture day mode. And then you click that, it switches, and you can go through all your settings and all that and switch it to whatever. You could do dual channel like I have, where you set it up to have thermal on top and day scope on bottom. You hold that down, it gets rid of it, and you could go back to day mode or IR, whatever one you want. So now we're day mode, and this has got a focusing wheel up at the top for the day mode. If you're going to run the thermal, you have to take the cap off so you can see the heat signatures on the end of your scope. You're probably wanting to ask the battery life. Well, I had one battery in the scope the whole time, and using it consistently all morning long from about 7:30 to 10:30, it went to half life, so over 3 hours almost, and the battery went down to 50%, which that is pretty good. And they include 2 batteries in this system. You only have to use one at a time. So here is one thing I do not like about this scope. It does not have an onboard media gallery where you can go through the scope itself and see the clips or whatever. You have to either connect it to your phone via Bluetooth, or to get the photos or video off your scope, you have to plug it in with the cord provided to your PC and turn it on, and then it'll register on your PC. And this is what it looks like once you have the scope turned on and plugged in your PC via USB-C and the other USB end that goes in your PC. Double click the DNT, you got your DCIM folder, record. You can see you got some photos on here, which this does take, and some video, which I just took some video with it. And that's how you get to your files. Exports MP4 or JPEG for the picture, but you cannot access this on board and actually see this on the scope itself. So that's the one thing I do not care for. Whereas like on an ATN optic, you can go in the media gallery and actually see it on the scope itself. But that's just me. So lastly, you're probably wondering, how much does this unit go for? Well, currently I believe it's around $1,100 price point for this unit. I'll definitely leave a link below so you could check it out if you're interested. It is not on the budget side in my opinion, but to me, I have looked through a lot of stuff, a lot of day scopes, a lot of night vision, and it is up there, and in my opinion. I've never tested out a thermal, so I can't speak on the thermal side of this scope, but it does work. Obviously, it shows heat signatures, and you know, even during the daytime at farther range. So I was hitting squirrels around 30 yards. It showed a heat signature up in the tree, shot it, it showed the heat signature on the ground. So in my opinion, it works and it does a decent job. Don't know how far out it'll work, but there'll be future videos for sure. So anyways, I hope you see here how awesome this little scope is for what it is. The manual is very detailed, and like I said, one of the best manuals I've looked into, and they're very specific and laid out, so it's super easy to follow along. Get the hang of the scope and you'll be set to go out in the woods. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you got something from this video, and I hope you like this DNT optic scope. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. It's pretty awesome, pretty cool. Again, this review, they sent this to me, so thanks DNT.